you are likely throwing away the single most powerful tool in your entire household. Every time you clear out your kitchen or wipe down your counters, and it is costing you hundreds of dollars in synthetic garden chemicals. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that a beautiful garden or a high-yielding crop requires expensive, brightly colored bottles from the commercial garden center. But the truth is that the ultimate secret to vibrant, pest-free plants is already sitting right inside your pantry or under your kitchen sink. Whether you are struggling with stubborn pests, chewing through your prized tomatoes, trying to revive a yellowing houseplant on your windowsill, or watching a fungal disease slowly sweep across an entire acre of crops, the answers are already in your home. We have just forgotten how to look at our everyday household items as the potent, life-giving remedies they truly are, and today we are going to change exactly how you look at your kitchen cupboards forever. It is truly incredible how a simple shift in perspective can completely change the way we nurture the land, and I am so deeply grateful to have you here around our virtual garden table today. If you want to keep rediscovering these time-tested, natural ways of growing smarter and saving money, please take a moment to subscribe and join our family so we can continue this journey together. While you are doing that, I would absolutely love it if you could drop your location in the comments below, whether you are tending a small balcony pot in a bustling city, managing a backyard plot in a quiet town, or farming acres of land out in the countryside. Our little community has grown to include people from dozens of different countries and environments. And seeing exactly where you are growing from helps me tailor these remedies for our global family, making this a true sanctuary for anyone who loves the smell of damp earth. Speaking of things we completely take for granted, your grandmother probably knew this first one, but somehow it got forgotten along the way as modern marketing took over our lives. Think about the last time you boiled a pot of eggs for breakfast and mindlessly poured that hot water down the drain while tossing the shells into the trash bin. You just threw away a goldmine of pure calcium carbonate that your soil is absolutely begging for, especially if you are growing heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, or eggplants. When plants lack calcium, the cell walls collapse, leading to that heartbreaking sight of blossom end rot, where the bottoms of your beautiful fruit turn black and velvety. To fix this using what you already have, you simply need to save those empty eggshells, rinse them out to remove any leftover albumin, and let them dry until they are crisp and brittle to the touch. Once they are dry, grind them into a powder using an old blender or a mortar and pestle. Because the finer the powder, the faster the soil microbes can break it down and make it available to your plants. If you are a home gardener with a few raised beds or containers, you can stir 2 tablespoons of this fine shell powder directly into the soil at the base of each plant, or steep the powder in a gallon of water with a tablespoon of white vinegar for a few days, to create a highly bioavailable calcium tea that you can pour right onto the roots. For small and medium-scale farmers looking to scale this up, you can collect shells from local bakeries or restaurants, crush them coarsely, and broadcast them across your fields at a rate of about 20 pounds per quarter acre before a gentle rain. For the best results, apply this natural calcium boost right at the beginning of the planting season. And repeat it once the first flowers begin to set, making sure to apply it in the cool early morning, so the moisture carries the nutrients deep into the dry earth. But here is where it gets really interesting, because your spice rack holds an absolute superpower that most people only associate with baking holiday treats or flavoring a warm morning drink. Ground cinnamon is a magnificent, natural antifungal and antibacterial agent that can completely rescue your seedlings from the dreaded damping off disease, which is that tragic moment when your tiny, delicate green sprouts suddenly wither at the soil line and flop over dead. The magic behind cinnamon lies in an organic compound called cinnamaldehyde, which naturally inhibits the growth of fungal spores without harming the plant tissue itself. If you notice a fuzzy white mold starting to creep across the surface of your seed starting trays, or the potting soil of your indoor houseplants, you do not need to panic or run to the store for a synthetic fungicide. Simply grab that jar of ground cinnamon from your kitchen, open the lid, and dust a fine, fragrant layer across the surface of the soil until it looks like the top of a cappuccino. For farmers managing larger greenhouses or rows of delicate crops, you can create a potent liquid antifungal spray by steeping 4 tablespoons of ground cinnamon in a gallon of warm water overnight, straining it through a fine cheesecloth to prevent clogging, and pouring it into a backpack sprayer. Spray this aromatic liquid thoroughly over the soil and the foliage of your crops during the late afternoon, when the sun is low, ensuring the leaves do not scorch in the heat. You can use this treatment once a week as a preventative measure during damp, humid weather when fungus thrives, or every 3 days if you are actively fighting an infection. And your nose will thank you for the beautiful, warm scent drifting through the air. Most people throw this next item away without realizing what it can do, treating it like a useless byproduct of their morning routine, when it is actually a premium soil conditioner and pest deterrent. I am talking about your leftover coffee grounds, which are packed with residual nitrogen, magnesium, and potassium, making them a fantastic, slow-release feast for your leafy green vegetables and acid-loving plants. Beyond the nutritional value, the gritty texture of dried coffee grounds acts like a barrier of tiny razor blades to soft-bodied pests like slugs and snails, while the lingering aroma of caffeine acts as a natural repellent to unwanted insects. If you are an everyday household looking to give your potted ferns, blueberries, or azaleas a quick pick-me-up, take your used grounds, spread them out on a baking sheet to dry completely so they do not mold, and gently scratch a thin layer into the top inch of your potting mix. For those running larger backyard gardens or farming operations, you can partner with local coffee shops to collect buckets of grounds for free, layering them directly into your compost piles to accelerate decomposition, or spreading them as a thin mulch around rows of carrots and brassicas. The key is moderation, as you never want to create a thick, wet crust of coffee grounds that blocks oxygen from reaching the roots. So aim for a light sprinkling about once a month during the active growing season. The best time to apply your grounds as a pest barrier is right before dusk, when the air cools down and the slugs begin to emerge from their hiding spots, allowing the rough, dry texture to keep your greens perfectly safe through the night. Now, if you have ever dealt with a sudden explosion of aphids, spider mites, or whiteflies, you know how quickly these tiny sapsuckers can drain the life out of your garden, turning vibrant green leaves into a twisted, sticky mess. Instead of reaching for a chemical insecticide that kills off your beneficial ladybugs and bees, you can walk right over to your kitchen sink and grab a bottle of plain, liquid dish soap. Soap works through a simple mechanical process rather than a chemical poisoning. The fatty acids in the soap break down the protective waxy coating on the bodies of soft-bodied insects, causing them to dehydrate and perish within hours. To mix up an effective batch at home, take 1 tablespoon of a mild additive-free liquid soap and mix it thoroughly into 1 gallon of clean, lukewarm water, shaking it gently so it does not foam up too much. For a backyard gardener, a standard hand pump spray bottle is perfect for targeting the undersides of leaves, where these pests love to hide, while a small-scale farmer can scale this exact ratio up for a large tractor sprayer to protect rows of beans or brassicas. You must apply this soapy remedy either in the very early morning or late in the evening when the sun is not beating down on the plants, because the combination of wet soap and intense midday sunlight can cause severe leaf burn. Repeat this application every 4 to 5 days for 2 weeks to catch any newly hatched insects, and make sure to give the plants a gentle rinse with clean water a few hours after spraying to keep the leaf pores open and breathing. You might find this next remedy a bit unusual, but the contents of your medicine cabinet can actually trigger a profound survival mechanism inside your plants that helps them fight off diseases entirely on their own. Regular, uncoated aspirin tablets contain acetylsalicylic acid, which is a direct chemical cousin to salicylic acid, a natural hormone that plants produce when they are under attack by pathogens. By spraying a low concentration of aspirin water onto your plants, you are essentially tricking them into thinking they are being infected. which stimulates their systemic acquired resistance and causes them to fortify their own cell walls and produce internal pest-fighting compounds. To prepare this plant vaccine, take one standard 325 mg aspirin tablet, crush it into a fine powder, and dissolve it completely into a gallon of clean water, stirring until the liquid is clear. If you are tending a kitchen garden, use a small mister to spray this solution over your tomato vines, potato plants, and pepper bushes, just as they are beginning to establish themselves in the early summer. Farmers can use this exact same logic on a larger scale to spray fields of crops before the rainy season hits, giving the plants